Hello, this is PS. Time to check out the patch 13.20 PS tier list. Champion tiers are determined based on data from the KR server tiers Emerald and above. The criteria for selecting champion tiers is based on their champion pick rate, win rate, ban rate, counter rate and data in high elo rank comprehensively. A pick rate of over 0.5% is required to be in the tier list. Let's start at top. If you look at the tier 1 lineup, you'll be taken aback. Aatrox, Darius, Fiora, Yone, Jax. All 5 champions are tricky to play against. We'll only be able to ban one of them, and I'd probably ban Aatrox. We'll give him an OP mark. Obviously, the champion that top players have been talking about a lot lately would be Yone, Jax and his friends. We've been talking about them a lot in our videos lately, but actually the quieter, the scarier they are. Aatrox has a 13.7% pick rate and a 50.4% win rate, looking like a safe first pick champ and able to take the initiative easily. Compared to the last patch, he's lost a bit of momentum. What we've expected for top this patch is that champions will decline due to nerfs such as Conqueror and Grasp of the Undying based champions are going to have a chance, and he wasn't able to get out of the woods 100%. He's still a good first pick champ, but not a free for all pick. So top lane has enough opportunities for most other champions. We mentioned that Grasp of the Undying based champions got a chance this patch. A prime example is Fiora. With a 7% pick rate and a 50.8% win rate, she made it into tier 1. We've seen some improvements in her power curve, where her first core timing, which was a bit elusive, has been improved. It's also a good enough card against Aatrox, Yone and Jax. If you go higher up in rank, only Darius gets down from tier 1. And Rumble seems to be taking over, so it's like the top players' preferences are almost being unified. However, Rumble is a difficult pick to use properly unless you're in Master tier or higher. On the other hand, Jax's data is yet again going astray. The changes to the motions this patch have made him smoother to deal damage, and we've seen tiers rise despite a bug that will eventually hurt him. At tiers Emerald and above, we aren't sure if the win rate changes based on proficiency, and it's not until you get to tiers Master and above that, the pick rate is 16.3% and the win rate is 51.2%. At the end of the day, we don't think Jax's tier went up because his damage increased or because his durability got too good, but instead we think it's more of an increase in convenience than anything else. So we think it's fair to say that it's only going to rate well for more skilled players. But like we said beforehand, it's also a patch version that champions using Grasp of the Undying have a chance at. So Jax is a good pick right now. Let's take a moment to look at the champions who have risen more than 10 spots at tier 2. Maokai, Camille, Kayle, Nasus. Can you see what's common for them? We'll show you all 4 power curves at once. These are the champs that get better towards the end of the game. And there are a lot of champions who use Grasp of the Undying as their main build. It's very helpful when you can read the same trends in different champions. In the case of Dr. Mundo, he's currently ranked in tier 3, but his pick rate has gone up quite a bit since he recently got buffed, while maintaining a 51% win rate. Hopefully the big trend we're seeing now will help you in your picks. The honey champs are Aatrox, Darius, Maokai and Camille. Jungle. This is the position that really got sniped this patch, so today's video will be more important than ever. And here's tier 1 with a total of 5 champs: Graves, Lee, Sin, Karthus, Rammus, Nidalee. We'll give OP marks to Graves and Lee Sin. Graves is on a roll right now, up 11 spots to the top rankings. If AD junglers know when to utilize Doran's Blade, and this becomes more widespread, we may be able to see a more interesting power balance between junglers. For now, Graves is showing off selfish stats, and as of today, he's got close to a 25% pick rate, and his ban rate is quickly exceeding 20%, and yet his win rate is creeping upwards to the point where it negates this disastrous pick rate increase. The Yumu's buff this patch has really helped Graves, and the changes to the jungle as a whole didn't really impact Graves at all, so he's relatively more powerful than before. Champions like Graves, Karthus and Nidalee, who don't get affected as hard by the jungling changes, or even Briar and Ivan at the top of tier 2, are in a relatively better situation. In the case of Ivan, his pick rate is actually still low at 1.8%, but his win rate is still in the 54% range. On the other hand, as we pointed out at top, the late game value is good. Champs who struggled in solo queue due to weak jungling are getting another chance. Rammus has a 5.5% pick rate and a 53.5% win rate, and Maokai has a 7.1% pick rate and a 52% win rate. These guys are prime examples. Instead, you need to have really good late game value. Unless you have outstanding late game value, you're still going to be held back by your jungling ability. It has to be almost as strong as the power graph you're looking at right now, with a late game win rate of over 55%. Sylas jungle is an interesting case. We were wondering if it would no longer be a thing after this patch because jungling is so hard. Sylas jungle itself is still hard to play this patch, but not unplayable. We think he's defending his data as other champs have received more damage. He has a 6.9% pick rate and a 49.6% win rate. We'll give Karthus, Rammus, Evelyn, Maokai and Zac a honeybee mark, and we'll give Graves a honeycomb mark. You should know how to play Graves now. And for the mid lane, we've also picked 5 tier 1 champs. Surprisingly, Akshan did get a nerf this patch and he's been on a downward spiral. But it's amazing that he's managed to stay on the edge of tier 1. He's truly a solo queue champion. He has a 3.5% pick rate and a 52.4% win rate. At this time, we wonder if he can get his pick rate back up. We'll give the OP mark to Sylas. He has a pick rate of 13.4% and a win rate of 50.5%, and he's a champion who should be difficult to pick first, but nevertheless. He's also playing a lot of different runes, so we think he needs to be lit up more. We'll try to put together a Sylas featurette video soon. From runes to items and playstyles, we bet you have a lot of questions. Naafiri and Neeko, even though they're in tier 2, are champions with very high win rates. We'll keep it simple and just go over their performance stats. Naafiri has a 2.7% pick rate and a 53.6% win rate, while Neeko has a 2.5% pick rate and a 52.9% win rate. The difference between the two is that Naafiri's pick rate has been increasing recently, while Neeko's pick rate is going down, but they are both good picks. Yon is in tier 2 with a 12.7% pick rate and a 48.5% win rate. He has the second highest pick rate at mid after Sylas. Here are the data for the top 3 most picked champions. How do they compare to your experience? Barring any major variables, you're going to see these 3 in mid pretty often. Let's also take a quick look at LeBlanc. After the AD LeBlanc static Shiv nerf, the devs gave a nudge to go back to AP, and they said the compensation patch at the time worked for LeBlanc on AP items, so no additional buffs were needed. Immediately after the nerf, we were told that the static Shiv LeBlanc's data was chipping away at her stats as a whole. We're really close to the AP build now, and LeBlanc is still struggling with a 5% pick rate and 45.8% win rate. Moving up to tiers Diamond and above, he has a 4.5% pick rate and 47.3% win rate. At Master and above, a 4.4% pick rate and 44.7% win rate. And Bronze to Platinum, a 5.1% pick rate and 45.4% win rate. Yes, LeBlanc is very difficult to use at any tier right now, and she's still getting picked. As the developers have said, we wonder if they'll give us another LeBlanc buff. The honey champs are Sylas, Talon, Naafiri, Akshan, and Asaul. There are more honey champs than usual since it's after a big patch. We'll give Ezreal an OP mark. 27.5% pick rate, 51.5% win rate, a dominant performance. No matter how untrustworthy he's been at Worlds, no other ADC is as good as Ezreal in solo queue. Considering that the recently gone viral unlimited stacks full as Jinx has a 29.4% pick rate and a 50% win rate, you can see how Ezreal is putting up right now. The viral champion Jinx has made it to tier 1. As of today, she has a 35% pick rate, and her ban rate is approaching 20%. The next patch will include a nerf to Jinx's passive stack. But regardless, it's fun, and users will want to experience how dope it is, so ADC players might still lean towards Jinx. The buffed Ziggs is doing a great job at bot. We're still cautious about recommending Ziggs mid, but Ziggs bot has definitely become a viable Joker pick. He's got a 3.5% pick rate and a 53.7% win rate, and as of today, he's even gone above the 5% pick rate. Maybe without the turret plate gold nerf, the Ziggs bot meta might have been fully established. It's still pretty good as it is though. He's got to the point where there's no bot champion with a win rate disadvantage. If you put them in order of pick rate, to look at the ones over a 10% pick rate, first of all, you can see that Kai'Sa's stats have gone down a lot, as her nerfs and the Duskblade nerf have been fatal. But it's not so bad that you have to change her build, so she's in a bit of a grey area. But then Jinx comes along, and suddenly there's a major population shift. Other than that, we're seeing similar performances across the board for the ADC champions. One champion to watch is Armor Pen Miss Fortune, who is seeing a resurgence with the Yumu's buff. Her pick rate is slightly up from the previous patch, but she doesn't seem to be getting much attention. The value of Miss Fortune leading to Yumu's Collector seems pretty good, so you might want to give it a try. The honey champs are Ezreal, Ziggs, Jhin, and Miss Fortune. We'll give Ezreal a honeycomb mark. Support is the quietest this patch. The usual suspects, Blitz, Rakan, Thresh, and Nautilus are in tier 1. We aren't going to give out a bunch of OP marks though. They're showing good but not great performances. Maybe it's a different kind of balance. Senna deserves the spotlight. She stepped up once more with a 9.9% pick rate and 51.7% win rate. She has good late game value, and she's a champion who can adopt items like Umbral Glaive and Yumu's, so we think the potential is higher. As of today, she's already over a 10% pick rate, so we think it's safe to say she's practically tier 1. Maokai, who has higher late game potential than Senna, has also had a higher pick rate recently. He has a 2% pick rate and a 53.5% win rate, so you should consider him. Morgana got patched, and Morgana Jungle has been getting a lot of attention, so her pick rate as support has also increased quite a bit. There was a significant increase in her data, with a pick rate of 4.7% and a win rate of 49.3%. However, it's not a perfect match for the current meta, so it has some limitations. Sylas is also showing up in support. With a pick rate of 1.1% and a win rate of 50.7%, it has a considerable user base and moderate data. He's being used in the jungle, got an OP mark in mid, seems like a Joker pick as support, and he's also used in the top lane with a pick rate of 1.4% and a win rate of 50%, so you can see how good the champion Sylas is right now. Honey champions are Blitz, Rakan, Thresh, Senna, and Zira. We'll give Blitz a honeycomb mark. Zira has a 4% pick rate and a 52.5% win rate. That's it for today's patch 13.20 PS tier list. We hope you found this video helpful. Thank you.